Hey Pack, welcome back. We are clearly not in Mexico anymore. We are in our wool sweaters back at the cabin.
Yeah, this has been many months of a journey getting to this point. As you all know, we've been in Mexico and we plan to stay there for the winter, upwards of 6 months, to build a home in the desert. And that's where this whole thing started, and Bella fell ill. It's a very long story. Parts of it are very sad. There's a pretty happy ending, so we want to share everything we've learned with you.
And there is a silver lining to all of this, because we were in Mexico, we were in California, where a lot of the top surgeons for pets are. And she's seen by Dr. Craig, who knew right away what was going on. So in Mexico, she was misdiagnosed. They said hip dysplasia and IVDD. Yes, of course, her bones, she's 12, have seen better days. She does have hip dysplasia. However, that wasn't the reason for the collapse. The surgical specialist in California actually said for 12, she is walking great. However, while we were in California, and we're just gonna tell you right off the start if this video is too sad for you to watch the entire story, but Bella was diagnosed with heart disease, B2 DCM, and we'll get more into that as we go on, as well as she had a cancerous tumor on her thyroid. She had a CT scan, as well as that has now been excavated, as they say in the doctor world.
And in the construction world. But that being said, we want to walk you through the journey of what the last few months has been, because this all began in December. It's been many months. We're now back in Nova Scotia. We've driven across 3 countries. We've learned a lot. And some of what we've learned, we think that a lot of people could benefit from if they also knew themselves. Had I known what we know now before, perhaps we could have caught this earlier. Yeah. And so it wouldn't feel right not sharing all of this knowledge we have now.
I just want to make this a preface. Before we went to Mexico, we brought Bella and Izzy in for a wellness check. They go quarterly, get everything done and checked out, and they both presented healthy. So this is something that really does go misdiagnosed quite often. So I just think the more we can share and communicate, the better for all of our pets, because at the end of the day, they're our children and we love them so much, and they don't live long enough.
They're our furry family members, so.
Yeah.
So although they are 12 and 11, Bella just had her birthday.
Her 12th birthday. Everyone wish Bella happy birthday.
Which is so exciting.
Yeah.
It was a very special celebration.
Yeah. She got a lot of toys. A lot of toys. Because she can't really have anything right now.
Treat-wise. Yeah, so regardless of, you know, their ages, it still was really shocking to receive the diagnosis that we received.
Well, yeah, you all see Bella, like, she's a wild child still to this age at 12, and like still now.
Yeah.
She's still biting the shovel. So.
She's wild. Truly,
yeah.
She is. So it is.
And the Aussies don't ever look like they age.
Yeah.
So it's even harder when, so.
She doesn't look old. It's confusing sometimes.
I know. A lot of you probably think we spent the entire winter in Mexico, but we really only built for 1 month there and spent another, I would say, month there. However, this was when Bella got the diagnosis of IVDD, which is a spinal condition, and if your dog moves, they can be paralyzed. So she was only going out for 3, 4 maybe times a day, 5 minutes each, just to pee, and we would like have to hang on to her hips and stuff to make sure she was very, like, her spine was straight.
Which is what you would have seen in our last video.
Which was like terrifying, by the way.
Us having her on bed rest for a month to like a month and a half while we were figuring out answers. But it was also kind of during the holidays, so we couldn't get answers. The tests that we had done, we couldn't actually get for another week or 2 after the holidays. It was a mumble jumble of us.
Which turned out to be a good thing.
We finally got the A-OK to get Bella to California, and we got an appointment with the specialist, which meant that we were going to pause everything we were doing in Mexico.
We already paused it.
Plan to leave to California, and then we had to figure out if we were driving or if we were flying, and that was a huge thing.
Let's make this clear. At this point, we thought she was probably getting new hips. Everything has been sent over, x-rays, every test, and her blood, everything is like perfect. Like they're like, this dog is a teenager inside, perfect heart, perfect liver, perfect kidney.
Which was so confusing.
Yes.
When we found out she had heart disease, obviously.
Yeah, because obviously, anyways, so confusing.
So in the end, with the discretion of the vet, we made the decision to fly to California with the girls.
You got your boarding pass?
At this point, we were feeling very hopeful after being on bed rest for a month and a half. We felt like it was the best decision for Bella. We didn't want her to be in the car for 2 days.
As well as, or 3, because you have to drive a bit slower. And also, there's no vets up the Baja Peninsula, really. It's very remote, or for anything that we knew. So our idea was like, let's get Bella there the quickest way as possible. So we flew an airline called JSX, which is actually, I'm not gonna lie, it was quite fun. It's not the idea I thought of Bella and Izzy on their first plane, but knowing that we were gonna have hope and she was probably gonna be like cured by the end of this, we only thought we'd be in California probably for like 3 weeks to a month. But
so at this point, we were like kind of
hopeful and optimistic. Yeah. A lot of hope. Like I think it was the first time I smiled, really, like honestly, in a month. Like
because I think what it was is after talking to her on the phone and texting with her, we finally felt super confident in the person who was going to care for Bella. Yeah. So that felt really reassuring. Even no matter what the outcome was, it felt like we were going to take care of it. Yeah. And take care of it good. You know.
Can I say one thing too? Is that in Mexico, we in our heart felt like there was more than just her hips made her collapse like that. It didn't make sense in our brain. We thought it was something neurological. The way Bella's like I said goodbye to her. Like, it was so sad. Like, so sad. I'm gonna get out of that.
Yeah. It's okay.
But it was so sad. Anyways, we packed up our RV. The RV is in storage. It is not in Canada.
We had started packing up. We could see the light at the end of the tunnel. We were gonna get answers. And we were getting on a plane. We were able
Bella looked a little happier too, you know? Like,
yeah, I think
she had like
our energy probably, let's be real, but yeah, I think she could, like the fact that we secured 4 seats on that plane and it lined up with the appointment, like everything just fell together so perfectly. So we were feeling really good. We were packing up and it was awesome. Like the plane ride was awesome. Like even though we knew when we were landing, we were going to the vet and it wasn't that exciting, like, but it was a great experience. Like because we enjoyed that.
Yes, health things are scary, but when you take care of them, they aren't always that scary. Do you know what I mean? Like if you catch things early, you stay on top of everything, you can fix a lot of things, even in human health, right? Yeah. Like that's why.
Anyway, if you ever need to fly your dogs anywhere, JSX flies within the United States and Mexico. And it was a really awesome experience. The girls had their own seat. They were able to lay on the ground and stretch. They were
eating
super relaxed.
All the sundaes, drinking all the bone broth. They were having a grand time. Everyone on the plane loved them, as well as my favorite thing, which I feel bad now because I thought Bella needed hips, but the pilots offered for the dogs to come in the cockpit.
They were so excited to see Bella and Izzy on the plane.
I said no because, well, I didn't want to lift Bella in there. I was like, oh, sorry, she needs new hips.
Yeah, we were trying to keep her like fairly calm and collected.
But they got their flying wings and it was the cutest thing ever.
They did give them wings, which is really cute because it was their first time in the air. Bella and Izzy are really flexible. They've done all kinds of adventuring in their life and I feel like on the plane they were just so calm and collected. They fell asleep.
They didn't even know it was a plane.
They were super chill.
However, if you're familiar with heart disease in dogs that have heart disease cannot fly. There is less oxygen up there, so Bella could have probably
what we thought
not made it.
Yeah, we thought we were doing the right thing by flying her there. It was a 2-hour flight, by the way, or an hour 46. What is it?
No,
2 hours.
Who cares?
Anyways, that 2-hour flight could have gone another way, and I'm so grateful that it didn't. However, it was really shocking to figure that out in the end. That was her first and her last flight. With
the misdiagnosis, we thought IVVD hips. That's why we went on the plane. We had no idea about heart disease, which is terrifying.
Also, we had a x-ray that came back and showed that her heart was super healthy.
Yeah.
Although now we know that like there are much better ways to
detect heart disease.
Thank you to Sundays for Dogs for sponsoring our video and making complete and balanced nutrition healthy and convenient. This bag ships directly to your door. It's shelf stable. That means it's fresh food that does not need refrigeration. It's so cool and it smells delicious. So it makes a great meal for your dog or a topper or a delicious treat. Just ask Bella and Izzy.
Supervisor approved. I love Sundays.
Gonna steal her Sundays.
A few things that we love about Sundays. It's created and founded by a vet. The ingredients are top-notch, super nutrient dense, no synthetic additives, all things that we know and love like egg, kale, blueberries, shiitake mushrooms, pumpkin, turkey liver, egg yolk. very healthy and delicious. That's a win-win for me. If you've ever been interested in feeding fresh food to your fluffy family member, then click the link in the description. You can receive 50% off your first order using our code VANWIVES.
So now we're in California. We spent the night at our rental, and it's Bella's first appointment with the surgical specialist.
Bella, today's your big day. Answers.
Document, Mama.
All right, let's get it.
Okay, bye, Izzy. We love you.
I love you, Izzy.
Have fun. To say I'm nervous is an understatement.
Part of the reason we chose to come to California is because when we were in Mexico seeing the vets there, they were leaning towards a total hip replacement, and that's not a surgery that they do in Mexico. So we figured we might as well go straight to California and do the testing there rather than put her through the testing twice.
Real quick on this, let me just say this because the universe works in very mysterious ways. When I surprised Crystal with WNBA tickets to see Caitlin Clark and the Las Vegas Aces play, Crystal and I went to the game. We were scootering. We couldn't make up our minds for like probably a full hour on what we want to do that morning. We want to go get coffee and yada yada yada. And anyways, we were scootering around town, and then all of a sudden I saw two people wearing Las Vegas gear, and I yelled Aces, and they yelled Van Wives, and it turns out they've been watching us and we've been watching them, and they're part of the Aces coaching staff. After lots of chats, texting, they are our friends now, and this is who knows this specialist surgeon in California, which I just think is like bizarre. It's just really weird how the universe really does have your back and just everything kind of is meant to be. Being in this office, I had this feeling already that we were at the right place. It was like, your gut really talks to you. That's what I've learned. It really does talk to you. You just got to listen to it, you know? That was the day that we got the diagnosis about heart disease, and Dr. Craig came back to us with the news.
Yes, your dog has heart disease.
Hard to see.
Yes, this is why we're passing out. Dilated, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. We solved that problem. The next thing is, what is this?
And I feel like my world just like ended that day. It was hard. Did not expect that. And then obviously the next one was she had a cancerous tumor on her thyroid.
Because I take masses that feel like that all the time, and they're almost always thyroid carcinoma, cancer.
Well, at that point, obviously Dr. Craig can't say if it's cancerous because it hasn't been tested.
And you can't just aspirate it, like you can't just take a sample of it and send it away because it is on the thyroid. It's such an invasive area.
Those are also very wrong a lot of the times, we've learned.
Yeah, so unfortunately when you do have a mass like that, like in this area, it needs to be removed and tested. It can't just be...
And Dr. Craig actually taught us that because Bella's did get aspirated in Mexico by the vet.
And we didn't know.
Of course, we're not doctors.
No, but we didn't know... Like, it didn't come back cancerous, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
cancerous.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we got hit with two things.
So we learned that. Yeah, it was a double whammy for
Yeah.
sure. I think, like, the weight of her words filled the room for sure, but I think how it affected you was, like, it was, like, I vividly remember sitting there, like, the way she said it and the way, how you felt it, and it was just like...
I almost fainted. What is DCMB2 heart disease,
Okay,
Crystal?
DCM, Bella has an enlarged heart. The heart walls are thin, making it hard for the heart to pump blood around the body, which means less oxygen around the body, which is
why she collapsed.
Why she collapsed. She didn't have enough oxygen to support her standing in that very moment, which is crazy to think about. And of course, if you have heart disease, that can lead to congestive heart failure. The cardiologist wanted to see Bella on the medication for 2 weeks before we started to consider the removal of the mass on her thyroid.
Because we have to get that out, as 95% are cancerous.
Yeah.
So it's scary. We have to obviously sedate a dog.
That has heart disease.
Has heart disease. Anyways, she is on the heart medication.
Still,
For life.
forever.
Probably.
Yeah.
She has to have an entire medical team, which we can't get here in Nova Scotia because they're overbooked. Anyways, you know, cardiologists in the Maritimes, please let me know.
No,
And-
PEI.
Yeah,
for
we can go to
sure.
PEI. It's like, yeah. There's Bella. Hi, honey. Okay, we're gonna go into what we've learned in this because I think it's super important. So I don't want to miss a single thing. We have our handy dandy notes here. But obviously when we got this news, we were super depressed, turned inside, just hung out on the couch. And it took time to process this information, and that's okay. We went through it. And then we realized the best way to support Bella would be to be as educated as possible.
To learn everything we can.
Everything we can. So we researched a lot. We even bought a course, learned everything, as well as Dr. Craig taught us a lot, as well as the cardiologist and the pamphlet we got sent home with.
All of that made this entire experience much more manageable.
Yeah. Also knowing what stage she's at, like all of that is so important. Number one is early detection. Take your dog in to get one of these. A lot of vets I've been researching, vets in our area and stuff, actually have pre-detection. So obviously Izzy's going in very soon for this.
The resting respiratory rate. So what we do with Bella and Izzy, what we learned, which is what something I think is the most important personally.
Yeah.
Because anyone can do this at home at no cost, and it's quite simple to do. Yeah, so the resting respiratory rate is when your dog is resting or sleeping, not dreaming or having any nightmares, just in a very resting heart rate. You can count how many times their chest rises and falls. That's one breath, one.
So you set a timer on your phone for 60 seconds and you count 1, 2, 3. And it's supposed to be between 15 and 30. And if it's lower or higher,
You should consider
I would
looking at that.
pre-detection.
Yeah.
Told everyone.
We've told everyone we know.
We're not vets, let me just make a disclaimer. This is what
Yeah.
we've learned. But I would really consider bringing your dog in because, yeah, it's worth it. Weighing a dog is super important, especially if they have been diagnosed, as you can sometimes tell if they're in congestive heart failure just from their weight. They could gain 5 pounds or lose 5 pounds, as well as heart disease. Dogs often lose weight. However, what I'm talking about is with Bella, I've got a nice scale for her. It's a nice big one, so I don't have to lift her. And if she has gained 5 pounds, there's probably fluid built up in the lungs, and that is, you go to the emergency. Because there are other medications that you can give a dog in congestive heart failure.
There are tons of options.
Yes.
Another thing that we've been diving into is supplements with the dogs.
And these were all passed by, obviously, Dr. Craig. I'm not just giving my dog supplements.
Yeah.
I had a very long list of questions for Dr. Craig, and she approved each and every one of them.
There's some really good things for the heart, like CoQ10. A lot of humans take it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's
taurine.
A lot. Yeah, taurine's super important for dogs.
Medications, like we said, there are a lot of them for heart disease, and they've come a very, very long way. It's honestly like a magic pill, and it's beef flavored, so she loves it. Good girl, you don't even know you're taking a pill. She will eat anything. That's my thumb. And then Izzy gets treats now too when she takes it. Exercise is still very important with a dog that has heart disease. Obviously not too much. You want to make sure you're still checking their, it's actually terrifying sometimes at the beginning when I was walking Bella, I was like terrified.
Because you don't want to overexert them. You don't want them to be working their heart like too much.
She's like, normally my ball and my frisbee gets brought to the park, and now we just sit here and look at the birds.
Yeah.
You want to keep an eye on them and make sure that they're doing, and that's the thing when it comes down to, oftentimes a dog knows exactly what they want to be doing, I feel like.
Yeah, so the cardiologist on the list said, your dog will set its own exercise schedule. So,
and boundaries. Like oftentimes, like if a dog doesn't want to keep going,
it stops.
let it be.
Yeah, I like this one.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah. We got Bella doggy oxygen from Paw Print Oxygen. And I hope we never have to use this. I hope I just wasted all my money, to be honest. But this can actually save a dog's life, especially living so far out.
But I mean, if I ever need oxygen,
I'm sticking it on you.
It's in the cupboard. So I feel like it's not a bad thing to have around.
Also, we told our surgeon that we got doggy oxygen, and she's like, yeah, you just have to watch out for elevation. So because Bella's not in congestive heart failure, she's never gonna be in congestive heart failure. I'm gonna make that, you gotta say it. Anyways, elevation, a dog with heart disease, you have to be very careful, as obviously there's less oxygen up there. There's also Facebook groups that you can join for DCM, which is like really nice.
Super helpful.
Just to talk to other people dogs have this. It's just knowledge is power, like I said. So anyways, and lastly, know where you check your dog's pulse. There's 3 places, as well as know how to do dog CPR. I think it's very important. I didn't even know where a dog's heart was. Kind of embarrassed to say that, but everyone I talk to about this also doesn't know where it is and also doesn't know how to do doggy CPR. So I would learn that. And pretty cool now, you can do it to Chapel Rome song. Let's go back. So after the first appointment, yeah. We were then told we need to wait 2 weeks until Bella can have her CT scan because we need to make sure that the heart medication is working and Bella can be sedated and will wake up.
So our goal was to get Bella back to the new normal exercise for Bella. So we were taking her on multiple 6 to 7 minute walks a day to start. We were walking around the block, just getting her mobile again, and we often ended up at Starbucks and McDonald's because that's where her nose would go in California.
We let Bella choose where it would go.
We were going into the PetSmart and walking around there, just like, you know, because she wasn't doing a lot outside of these walks. Also, something that we've been doing ever since is physio with the girls. It was just awesome. Jasmine is so good at it with Bella and Izzy.
You can take a course online so you like know what you're doing and
also
stuff.
There's tons of YouTube videos, like the physio equipment that you bought on Amazon. There's videos on YouTube on like how to do it with your dog, and it's such simple movements that can help a dog with their joints and regain strength and build muscle even in old age. We've seen a huge improvement. And it's an exciting thing wild. Because although they should be like on a decline, it feels like, you know, they're almost like on an incline now.
We're steady.
Like
they're a little tick.
They're getting stronger and they have more mobility and more movement, which is like so awesome.
More physio equipment came in the mail for Izzy-O and Bella-O.
Here's a picture of Izzy sit first, and now look at her sit. That's what I want to show you.
Yeah, she had sloppy sits. So then after this 2-week period,
she went in for the CT scan, and the CT scan is actually for knowing if the tumor has metastasized, as well as how to excavate it out of Bella.
Okay. You did it! CT scan!
She's hungry. So 5 days later, we got the results saying that it hadn't metastasized from what they can see in the CT scan, and that we were gonna book the surgery. And this felt like the last hurdle. It was like we get this out. It was really cool. We could text the office.
She had to stay overnight, obviously, and for more times if obviously her levels weren't good.
So we got a photo of Bella at like 9 p.m.
Terrifying though.
She looked a little...
She was on a lot of drugs. She also had like, this was completely all cut, shaved.
Yeah.
We call her the turkey neck dog now.
Yeah, we're still calling her turkey neck because she's like, when she came out of surgery, it was just all shaved, and it was just like, it's so, the skin's so loose, it looks like a turkey neck. She had the mass removed, it was sent away.
While she was in there, excavating, she said that she didn't notice that it had metastasized.
Which was the best thing to hear.
And then she snipped her out.
She thought she got it all out, so that was great.
Hi, sweetheart. How are you doing?
Elder discharge?
I did. How are you?
Oh my goodness,
their advantages, and then
like we said in the beginning, the mass was cancerous, and we assumed it was because 95% are cancerous. That's why we made it a priority to get it removed as soon as possible. So hearing that was obviously hard. However, very happy that it's gone and we caught it because cancer does grow so quickly.
She got her, obviously the mass removed, then you gotta wait 2 weeks, obviously, to be rechecked.
Yeah.
She got the all clear. And we celebrated being cancer-free.
Bella!
She's my baby.
Okay, here she is.
There's Bear, everyone.
Show her when you're growing in turkey neck.
Showing your neck. Love it.
Yeah, she's doing so great.
Yeah.